Today on the grid, it is open Q&A day. Ask us anything, except there is no us, because Kuna is off gallivanting in his RV again. But we've got some nice giveaways, we got some cool new stuff, and that's all we got. That's it. But at least it starts in 21.3 seconds. Let's go!
The Grid is brought to you by Platypod, the tripod alternative that is changing the world. Everybody has a Platypod. You should too. Go to platypod.com.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another live episode of The Grid. It's just me, Kuna. Kuna's not here. Kuna's off gallivanting. He's in his RV. He's living life. He's having fun. But somebody's still got to do the grid. So it's me. I had some guests lined up and things just didn't work out with Skype and other things. So it's just me. But that doesn't mean we're not going to have fun. Oh, yes, it does. This show's going to suck. But anyway, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad somebody's here. I'm glad anybody's here. But we got some giveaways. And remember, a smaller audience means better chances to win the prizes. And we've got some good prizes today. We're going to start off with a Platypod Ultra. Someone's going to win one of these bad boys that fits right in your pocket. Now, I do want to mention, while we're here, while we're on the giveaway of the Platypod, we've got some special deals, all right? And I got a special code to give you in case you don't win. Because obviously, thousands and thousands of people will watch this, but only one is going to win a Platypod today. If it's not you, and it's not going to be, here's what the deal is. All right. So they did these Black Friday deals, right? And they're going to, now they've just made them into holiday specials. You can get the Platypod Extreme. Now, this is the one that completely blew up. I mean, blew up Kickstarter, right? So this is the one. This is it. So you can get the new Extreme, which is the larger sized one that has the built-in legs and all of the wonderful features. You get the multi-accessory kit and the gooseneck, the whole thing for $169. All of it. Like, that's 3 different packages. You save $48. All right. Now, you can also go get the Platypod Disc 3-pack, which I have these. So this is what you put in the top of your ball head, and you screw your camera into it, and it works amazingly well. And once you use one, you go, why didn't anybody else think to make round ones? Well, I guess now I saw somebody trying to copy them, but don't get the copy, get the original, right? You get $16.50 off. You can get 3 of them, so you can give one as a stocking stuffer, you can give 2 as stocking stuffers, and you can keep one for yourself, and they'll never know. They'll never know you saved $16.50. All right, I got a code for you. If you want to get something that is beside that, right? If you're like, well, those are the deals, you can use this code to get other stuff. You can get all of the bundles for using the code SKBF20. So think of it as Scott Kelby Black Friday 20, SKBF20. I'm not sure that's what it stands for, but you know, it works. Or you could be Scott Kelby Best Friend 20. Yeah, let's go with that. Scott Kelby, or no, don't do Scott Kelby Boyfriend. That's not appropriate. Scott Kelby Best Friend 20. There you go. Anyway, you can get all kinds of deals over there. So go to platypod.com and get this amazing stuff. Again, someone's going to win one today. One person. This is it right here. All right. That's the box it comes in. We're also going to give away a copy of, right here, the Travel Photography Book, a fantastic book. It's highly rated, much beloved. If you like to travel, and I know you do, this is the book for you. All right, next. This book is so new, it's not even available. But it is my Light It, Shoot It, Retouch It book. I did it all with Flash. The entire book is redone from scratch. I show you how to do the lighting. I show you how to all the measurements, where everything goes. I do the whole 9 yards. It's very positive. One of my most popular books ever, but I redid it all. Instead of using studio lights, I did it all with off-camera flash. And so that's it. You're going to win the Kindle version, because that's the only one that's available. The paperback is somewhere between here and South Korea. We're talking February before it gets here. but you can get the Kindle immediately, and some lucky person is going to get one of those today. Also, we've got, we're going to give away some V-Flats. Now, these are for U.S. folks only because they have to ship it to you. They're only going to ship it in the U.S. You're going to win a V-Flat, and, which the V-Flats are amazing. There they are right there. Love them. Love them. We use them here in our studios. They're incredible. I can't believe, that's another product I can't believe somebody didn't come up with first, and now that, now they've got the whole market. And then also the Duo boards. So the Duo boards are these things that you can put behind product shots or food photography, wherever you want, to make it look like you have this sophisticated looking studio. And I mean, look at the pictures there. Look at some of the sample pictures. Right? You shoot them on the board and you get these amazing looking pictures. It's incredible. They're very, very clever. All kinds of different ones. You're going to get one of those today. Now, you can also use a discount code Kelby10 at checkout, and you can get 10% off any of their stuff. Also, Imogen is one of our fun sponsors. Now, you probably saw them a few weeks ago on our show. They came on and they have this amazing AI, cloud-based, crazy wizard stuff where it goes through and sorts your images, picks your best ones, applies your look. It does so much. It's kind of hard to explain. But if you download it, you get your first 1,000 edits free. And you got to go back and watch that episode. It's very inspiring and amazing and crazy and scary at the same time. We're giving away all that stuff and probably something else, but I can't see unless you scroll up a little. Yes, I knew it. We're giving away the On One Effects 2023. I've spent the last week doing some really cool stuff in On One Effects. In fact, I did one right before I came here. Like literally, the last thing I did at the house was apply this particular look. Dude, they've done some really, really neat stuff. And some lucky person is going to win that plugin. It works in Lightroom or Photoshop. Your choice. All that's coming up. All right, got some quick shout outs. Zach says, Merry Christmas from a soon-to-be frigid Colorado. It is actually, it's a little colder than usual here, and it's going to be, I think I heard 39 on Christmas Day. It's always 80 on Christmas Day here, and you're like, it's supposed to be cold, I'm hoping. John's here from Hexham in the UK. Season's greetings to you all. Le Chat Masque says, hi, everybody from France. Paul's here from Liverpool. Tracy's here from the deep freeze in Saskatchewan, where wind chills this week have been between 40 degrees and 50 degrees below zero. Ooh. There's a comment from Stuart. He goes, no cardboard Kuna cutout? Oh, I would have loved to have one of those. No, Mr. Kuna's out on vacation once again. I did some research. I called our HR department. We actually do have an HR department. And I asked them, how many days vacation does Kuna get a year? And they said it's over 300. They couldn't come up with an exact number, but they said it's in the 300s. So that's why he's not here today because, well, he's out there. All right. Today is open Q&A day. So if you have questions about anything, and I do mean anything, pop them in, and I will be happy to answer them if I can. If there are questions that I can't answer, I'll do what they do on TV and just make up answers. No, I'll tell you if I don't know. All right. Hey, I said last week we were going to start doing something new. That's right. I said we're going to start doing, ready, Photoshop tips. That we were going to add a new thing on the show where we do Photoshop tips. Every episode. So I'm going to do one. I got a Photoshop tip here. This is John. Hey, John. Anyway, so I have just a really quick little fun tip for you that is super easy to do and is not done as much as it should be done because this is really good. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to select him. We're going to use select subject. So I need just him. So go under the select menu and choose select subject, and it will use its AI goodness to go, oh, there's the subject. All right, I don't know if you can see it on your small screen if you're watching on your phone or something, but it selected him, and it did a pretty nice job. All right, so I'm just going to copy him into memory, just standard copy. So all I've done thus far is made a selection of him and copied it in memory. All right, I'm going to go to a new document. Here we go. Step 1, we're going to fill this document with black. Now, if you ever want to set your foreground color to black, you just press the letter D, but it's black. That's it. D sets your default colors for your foreground and background back to Foreground being black, background being white. So that's the letter D. All right, now I want to fill the background with black. Quickest way to do that is to press Option Delete if you're on a Mac, or you can press Alt Backspace if you're on a Windows PC. Okay, hey, you know what? I'm going to change the background color here so it's a little easier to see. If you right-click anywhere here, you can choose a, there you go, make it the background a little lighter so you can see. Okay, there we go. Just a right-click and you can choose a new background color. Okay, are we ready to continue? Yes, step 2. We're going to create a new layer, so go to the Layers palette and create a new empty layer. I know this is an exciting tutorial so far. It's going to get better, I promise. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to go grab the elliptical marquee tool, the circular one, the one that makes circles. I'm going to hold the Shift key so it makes a perfect circle. I'm going to make a big, big circle. Man, this is a good tutorial. I promise it does get better. Let's change our foreground color to a bright red. So I'm going to click on the little picker here. We're going to switch this to make it red. And then we're going to fill the circle with red using the same keyboard shortcut that I used to fill the background. Do you remember what that was? It was Option Delete, right? And on Windows, it would be Alt Backspace. Okay, now I'm going to just deselect. Press Command D to deselect. So what do we have here? We have a black background, and on its own layer above it, we have a red circle. And that's pretty much it. So that's our Photoshop tip for the... No, there's more. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to go into the Filter menu. We're going to go to Blur, and we're going to choose Gaussian Blur. And we're going to blur the living daylights out of this circle, like literally 500 pixels. We're going to make it super blurry. So let's bring up the box, type in 500, and it makes a very, very blurry thing. You can choose whatever number you like, 600, 700. Okay. Now, when you go and paste the guy that you had before, you got a portrait. That's it. That's the trick. Wait, but there's more. Do you notice there's a little fringe? Right? There's a little fringe. Look at on his arm. There's a little fringe. I want to talk about how to get rid of that fringe because I care. Here's what we're going to do. There's a couple of different things you can do. Step 1, let's zoom in a little so you can see the fringe really clearly. One is to go Filter. I'm sorry, not under the Filter menu, under the Layer menu, all the way to the bottom under Matting. You can go and choose a thing called Defringe. So if you have fringe, go to Defringe. And then we'll increase this width maybe to 4 pixels. Click OK. And, ooh, it got rid of most of it. Look, here's before and after. Oh, look at that. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more so you can really see it. Look, that's pretty good. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good. So what can you do if it's not perfect? Let's undo it. Let's try a higher number of defringe. Let's undo it. Let's go to defringe. We'll try 10. It did about the same. In that case, we go on to Plan B, which is we go under the Layer menu, under Matting. Now, if he came from a white or light background, in that case we used it was a light gray background, right? We can go and choose Remove White Matte if he came from a light background, or remove Black Matte if he came off a darker background. So we'll choose Remove White Matte, and it did pretty good. It missed a tiny, tiny little area. So in that case, the third plan is to go get the eraser tool, because the eraser tool uses a hard edge, and he's on his own layer, and we can just get rid of that tiny little bit right there. It's annoying, and it should get rid of all of it, but it didn't. Look at that. Just left that little bit there, and I'm just going to erase it. I don't like having to do it manually, but those ways that I showed you, they did pretty good everywhere else. It's just on that one part of his arm. Everything else it did wonderfully well, except for that one part of his arm. All right, I'm going to move this. Let me back out a little bit, and we're going to go back to the default color, and you can see it actually turned out pretty decent for us having just done that. So that's not bad. Now, there is another way to, is this going too long for a tip? Maybe because I could show you another kind of cool trick there, you know. All right, let's do it because, you know, There's nobody here. Don't forget, I'm answering your questions. I see some questions coming in. If you have questions, just pop in. We're talking about anything, about Photoshop, about Lightroom, about camera, about lighting, about photography, about love, anything. Just drop it into the, about food. All right. Let's go back to the original picture because there's something that we could do here. All right. And you can do it actually in Camera Raw. Let's do this. Let's go to Camera Raw. All right, we're going to go over here to the masking tool. Step one is we're going to select the background. Oh, look, he's sitting, hold on, he's sitting above that. Let me select all and hit crop. Hold on, I want to get him to where it's all on one layer and flatten the image. Ka-chow. All right, now he's flattened. All right, let's go to Camera Raw again. Here we go. I'm going to go to the masking tool and we're going to click on background. All right, we're going to click on background and it selects everything from him. So that red tint shows you what it's selected. All right, so I'm going to go darken that background a little bit because it looks a little bright. All right, let's just darken it behind him. That's better, right? Something like that, maybe. And, you know, you could blur it a little bit. If you wanted to go here, you could go down here to clarity and maybe reduce the clarity a little bit, kind of blur that background just a little bit behind him. You don't want to do it a whole bunch, but just maybe a little. Okay, now, here's the trick. This is what we're going to do. We're going to create a new mask. And we're going to go and choose the radial gradient. All right. And this draws circles like the other one. And we'll draw a big circle behind him. Well, that's probably too big. There we go. We'll draw a circle behind him. Nice thing about it is you can change the size afterwards pretty easily. All right. So we have a nice circle. And this is where we're going to put our light. So we're going to put a light behind him. Now, if I go to exposure and increase it, right? It does light the background, but it also lights the heck out of his face. How are we going to fix this? Here we go. Go to mask number 2. Hit subtract. What do I want to subtract from that big bright circle? I want to subtract him. I want to subtract the subject. So choose select subject. It selects him, and look, the light is now behind him, and you can control the amount of light. You can go down here and choose to add a tint to it. You can change the hue of the light, but it doesn't work as well if you just change the hue unless you go down here to, where's the little box right here where it says color? Go to color and choose a color for that light. See how you can drop a pink or maybe a blue, or we used red before, but it won't look good on this background. Let's go with like a blue. No, how about that pink? Choose whatever color looks good to you. Then you can go to the hue thing and change the hue a bit if you want, but it's not even really doing much there. But you can change the saturation of it, make it really bright or really light. Anyway, that's on mask 2. All right, so that was a alternate version. So there we go. Okay, we got some more questions coming in, but that is our official Photoshop tip of the week. We do need to have a theme song and a graphic and all, but we don't have it yet. Okay. Questions. Tony Mitchell's asking, what are the advantages or disadvantages of back button focus? So for those of you who aren't familiar with what back button focus is, you know how you press your shutter button and it focuses and shoots the shot. With back button focus, you are taking the focus part off the shutter. You are no longer focusing with the shutter button. It does not press and focus. You actually will press a button on the back of your camera that will now become the focus button. Let me find a picture of a camera for you. Don't move, don't read, don't breathe, don't make a sound. I think I have one right here, and I can show you what I mean. Give me 1 second. Yeah, here's one. All right. Do you see this button that says AF on? That becomes your focus button from that point on. Here, let me make it more clear where that is. Right there, right? And let me put a big stroke around it there. This will help. That button right there inside that red square, that becomes your focus button from that point on. You will now press it and then fire. Why would you do? What good does this do? First off, I would say that this is for shooting moving objects. That's what it's really for. You can shoot anything with it, and I know that people will switch to back button focus, and they fall in love with it so much that they just use it from that point on, and they shoot everything, all right? So that's basically it. Number one. Okay, but here's why back button focus is so great. So let's say that you are photographing a bird flying across the sky, all right? So when you do things regularly, every time you press the shutter, it has to refocus, right? Bird, 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 bird. When you take it off of that front button and you hold, and you will keep it held down, back button focus. Now, you would, when you're shooting a moving object, you also change your focus mode to continuous focus mode. Depends on what make and model you have. It might be called AI focus if you're on a Canon, AI servo. If you're on a Canon, it would be called, I think, continuous focus mode on a Nikon or Sony. You're going to press the back button, and then every time you press the shutter button, it does not refocus. It just tracks with your image. So you can go click, 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 and the focus never changes. It just follows with the bird. If you do it the other way, it goes refocus, 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 and it misses a lot of times. It misses. You'll get all kinds of misses. So if you're shooting sports, if you're shooting, any of those things, and you're holding that button and going click, 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 it's so much better. You'll get so many more things in focus. And the guy that asked the question, I can't see the question anymore, but the question they asked was, what's the downside? The only downside is if you forget to press that button. If you forget to press and hold that button, if you forget about it and go back to the old way, all of your photos will be out of focus because you forgot that you have back button focus on. And I've had it happen to myself. I had it happen to other people where they went, oh my gosh, I went to shoot this shot and I took it real quick and I had back button focus on and I forgot. That's the only downside I can think of. It works brilliantly. It really does. Now, you can press and hold it if the thing's moving, or you can press and let go and it locks like regular. It locks on wherever you left it. So, I don't know. Back button focus is awesome. People fall in love with it. They use it for sports and then they just use it forever. If you get used to using it all the time, then there is no downside. They work really, really great. We have to take a short break. Lots of questions coming in. Thank you very much. Remember, if you want to win any of the things that we talked about today, which we have lots of goodies to give away, all you have to do is leave us a comment. Now, your comment, you're automatically entered when you put a comment, but it's really, really nice if you would tell us what you want to win, right? Say, I want to win the V-Flat, or I want to win the Light It, Shoot It, Retouch It book, or the travel book, or the Platypod, or the On One. Tell us what you want to win, and you can ask anything. Ooh, good. Man, the questions are good today. Woo! Okay. Anyway, let's take a short break. When we come back, we're going to get some more of your questions. Stick around. We're live here on the grid without Mr. Kuna.
Have you ever had a client that wants you to recreate different images? Well, come join my class, and in this class you'll learn different tips on how to recreate those inspirational images, because at some point in your career you will get asked to recreate lighting from someone else's images, and now you got to go and dissect that image and figure out the lighting for it. So what we'll do in this class, we'll go over how to dissect the images, the gear we use, modifiers we use, camera settings, and to just kind of guide you through the process so you can make a bunch of money. So you should come check this class out. Come join me in my latest class at kelby1.com.
here, and I'm here with the new Canon R7. We're taking this through its paces. We're out here at an air show. We're gonna put it through a real-world example, show you how this camera performs actually out shooting an event, right? This is what this camera is designed for. Peak action, we want telephoto, we want to be in on the action. We're gonna put this through its paces, figure out what it can do, what it can't do, any highlights it has. These are the type of images that you can produce with this camera. We're gonna see if there's any things that we need to address with it, and then we're gonna actually take it back into the studio, and we're gonna go through all the buttons, all the dials, the menu system, explain what everything is, so you're up to speed on how to make the most out of the Canon R7. So join me on this class on the new Canon R7 at kelby1.com.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by B&H Photo, the professional source since 1973.
Hey, we are back. Scott Kelby here with Empty Chair. And Kuna's gallivanting around. I'm not even sure Kuna can watch where he's at because he's like, in the wilderness, in his luxury RV, living that Kuna luxury life that he does. All right, we've got, we got Wally. Wally says, greetings from Comox, British Columbia. I gotta tell you, I've never heard of Comox, but I know British Columbia is absolutely beautiful, so it's someplace beautiful in British Columbia. All right, we have some comments. Tracy says, what? How have I never known about Defringe? I will use this so much. Defringe is wonderful. Defringe is the one I use most of the time. I do have to use the white or the black. In fact, I've had to just recently. It just makes it usually works pretty amazingly. It didn't work fantastically in our demo, but that's how it goes sometimes. All right. Bill says, just a shout out for Scott's book, How Do I Do That in Lightroom? I just got it, and I can tell it will be my go-to for all my Lightroom questions. Thank you, Bill. Thank you very much. I love to hear that. You write these books, and as an author, that's all you want. You want them to be useful, right? You really want people to like them and find them useful. So thank you very much for sharing that. I do appreciate that very much. Josh has a question. He says, on the On1 No Noise AI, and specifically the tack sharp function, do you use it? If so, where in the workflow? Well, first off, yes, I do use it. I used it this week. And for me, now I'm not speaking for Mr. Kuna because he uses it in a different way because he shoots crazy stuff. I shoot regular stuff. Anyway, if I use no noise, and I did it this week, I had an image where it had it. I don't do a lot of noise reduction, but when I do, I'm always going to use the tack sharp function with it. So I'm using the noise, and why? Because there is a little loss. There's always a little inherent loss of quality when you run any kind of noise reduction. The tack sharpness really does bring that back. Where do I use it in my workflow? I use it towards the end of the workflow. I kind of try to ignore it, I say, there's some noise, I'll fix that later. Towards the end of the workflow, I add it. Lastly, how do you think it compares to Topaz Denoise AI? Well, I can tell you I have Topaz Denoise AI, and I only use the no noise, the On1. So I think the On1 works amazingly well. That being said, Topaz's Sharpen AI, phenomenal. I use it every day. Their denoise AI, I've switched over to the On1 no noise AI, and their tack sharp function works really, really well. But I use it in conjunction with it. So to answer your question, do I use it? Yes. Do I use the tack sharp function? Always. Where in the workflow? At the end. All right, AJ has a question. What are your first impressions of the Canon R6 Mark II? I'm debating whether it would be worth upgrading from the original R6. So AJ, I haven't really had a chance to put it through its paces. I've just done dinking around. I've shot maybe 50 or 60 shots. I need to shoot a couple of thousand to let you know. But can I tell you something? I'm not expecting a lot different from the R6. Could I tell you with a straight face, you need to do it like you need to do it? Probably not. Since I teach this stuff and I live it and I can charge it to the company. Oh, Joey. Sorry. Then it makes it much easier. But if I had to pay it out of my own pocket and all that, that would be like, oh, I'm not sure I needed to do that. Now, I was able to sell my old R6 and get the new R6 II. That surely makes a big difference. And of course, you can sell it back to B&H. There's other online places that you can sell it. B&H will give you a quote instantly. You just go to their website, say, I have an R6. What do you give me for it? And then see what the new one costs, and you're paying the difference. So, but I can't tell you, oh, AJ, it's so different. It's so amazing. It's got 4 more megapixels. The tracking, the focus tracking is a lot better. But I haven't really had a chance to run it through its things. So I would really have a hard, even if the tracking is better, I would have a hard time saying, hey, if it's, over $1,000 difference, I'd be like, your R6 is really good. Now, AJ, if you can charge it to your company, absolutely. All right. Jerry is asking the question. Do you have any tips with the edge controls in Photoshop's sky replacement? I've had challenges with the new sky overlapping more complex foregrounds or cleanly meeting complex foregrounds. Yeah, Jerry, it is an AI thing, right? And the AI will continue to get better and better and better. And most of the time, I think it works really, really, really well. But I don't actually go in, make a mask when you're done, make a mask, and you're going to have to paint over the mask or paint over the edge. It doesn't always do a perfect job. On your standard, everyday, easy sky replacement, it works great. When it gets complex foregrounds or you're meeting those foregrounds that's complex, you're going to have to do some masking. It's just, and there isn't a control in there, I can tell you, that's going to make a big difference. I've tried. All right, Tim, anything new in the chicken sandwich wars? No, Tim, the reigning champion is still, and they're building more and more of them, the Aussie Grill. I haven't had one since yesterday, Tim. Oh, yeah, I had one yesterday. Phenomenal. It's just the best chicken sandwich on earth. It is incredible. It is, and I like Popeyes, and I like Zaxby's. They're both really good. Even Kentucky Fried Chicken's is very good. Burger King's is now horrendous. In my opinion, it is very, very bad. Burger King threw up their hands and said, we're making this good chicken sandwich, but it's hard for us to make consistently, so we're not going to do it. We're going to go back to the old chicken sandwich everybody hated. All righty. Chris says, how can you edit a smart object with a content-aware fill after you create it? It says you can't do it. Well, there's a reason why it says that. If you have a smart object, it's not going to let you do content-aware fill. Yeah, it's not, because your content-aware fill is going to be actually changing the pixels. I don't know. You got me on that one, Chris. I'm not saying there's not a way that you can do it. I'm saying I don't know how to do it. I don't know any way to edit a smart object with content-aware fill after you create it. I don't know. Okay, Larry. Thoughts on Canon not allowing third-party manufacturers to make Canon-compatible lenses. Larry, I am not happy with it. I love Tamron lenses. I would love to buy, because some of the Tamron lenses are much less expensive. They're super sharp. The Tamron is like in the groove on making these third-party lenses, and Canon, for those of you, is not allowing third-party manufacturers like Sigma or Tamron, or trying to think of who other camera. I always think of Sigma and Tamron, both great makers of third-party lenses. I wish Canon would let them do that. I'm sure at some point they will finally license it, but I think Canon is thinking at this point they still have a number of lenses that they have not released for the RF mount, and that's the mount that lets you use it on mirrorless. Yeah, I wish Canon would let us do it. Would license that. I get it. I understand it. Camera companies are having a hard enough time, right, making money, and they go, hey, let's let other people make money off it. But, eventually that's going to happen. I wish it would happen sooner, but I'm not happy about it. All righty. Okay, Joe says, I've seen many ways to set the white and black points in Lightroom. What is the best way? Joe, I can tell you what I do. I can't tell you that it's necessarily the best way, but I can tell you exactly what I do. Let me just open up Camera Raw. It's the same as Lightroom, so don't count me out for that. But this is the same as the Develop module. So what I do to set my white and blank point is I hold the Shift key, I would double click on, now when this is nice, in Camera Raw, when you hold a shift key, it actually changes the word whites to auto whites, right? It actually changes it. You can double click right on the word. That's how I do it. I hold a shift key and I hold, I double click on the word auto whites or auto blacks. When you hold a shift key in Lightroom, it doesn't change to that. You just have to know. It's the same thing. It's the whites. Oh, I hate these tutorials that pop up. It's the same thing. It just doesn't say auto whites. Hold a shift, double click. It sets the white and black point for you. That's exactly how I did it. That is it. Okay, John's got a good question. Scott, among the photography gear that you've invested in, is there something you wish you hadn't bought? There are two things, John, that I wish I hadn't bought. Number one is I bought and I thought I was going to use the heck out of this for football, and I used it one time and I was not happy with the results. I bought one of those machines that makes a gigapixel. It's a gigapan. You put your camera, you put your DSLR in it, and it looks at the room and goes click, 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 click. It makes this giant image of the entire room, and I thought, I'm going to use this at sporting events. I'm going to use this all the time. Like if I shoot a Bucks game or if I shoot a baseball game, I'm going to sit it there, and it's going to get the entire stadium, and you can zoom in and see everybody's faces. I thought it was going to be great. I used it one time. You have to babysit it. Like you got to babysit it. It takes a long time. Now, if I had a full-time assistant that was at the game with me, by the way, I never, ever, ever, ever. Once I got a pass for an assistant to come with me because it was a playoff game, and they wanted the images transmitted immediately. So my assistant sat up in the booth. He'd run down, get my card, run upstairs. He'd edit the photos and send them in. It was a long day for him, but I never get an assistant. You need an assistant to sit there and babysit that thing, to absolutely babysit it. That's number one. The second thing I bought is a car rig. So you ever see these pictures like on the cover of Motor Trend or Car and Driver, and the car's going and it looks like it's going 1,000,000 miles an hour. The car is super sharp and the wheels are spinning like mad. How do they do that? You use a car rig. What a car rig is, it is a pole that you attach to your car. You use big suction cups, you attach it to the hood of your car, and then you put your camera upside down. You turn the car off so there's no vibration, and you do a long exposure. You set it for, 5-10 seconds. You get behind the car with the engine turned off, and you push the car. The car is going to go, 1 mile an hour? You got 2 or 3 people back there pushing, heavy car. But because the wheels are moving and nothing else is moving, it looks like that car is going 150 miles an hour. It's amazing. Let me find a shot for you. Hold on. See if I can find one. I've got one because I shot them. All right, let me find one. Give me a second. Oh, I know where they are. Hang on. Give me 2 seconds, and I'll show you a car rig shot. I'm going to show you a car rig shot. Do. Where's the car rig? I shot my brother's car. I shot another friend's car. Where is it? Oh, this one. Here you go. Here you go. Take a look on screen. Man, that car looks like it's hauling butt. That car is going 1 mile an hour. It is doing nothing. It is literally like going 1 mile an hour. But because you've got the shutter open and the car's moving, right? So we built a car rig. You can find all kinds of do-it-yourself car rig stuff. And I'll talk about it. We got to go to break. Let me take a break. When we come back, I'm going to explain the car rig and why the other thing was bad. More questions coming in. If you've got questions coming in, questions, drop them in there. I can see some good ones right now. Don't forget to enter because we got good prizes and stuff coming up. So be drawing for those in a few minutes. Tell us what you want to win. Don't forget, we'll be right back here on the grid on Open Q&A Day.
What if you could hire an extra set of hands just to deal with editing your photos? And what if this assistant was thinking and editing exactly like you? With Imagine, this is not a distant dream. Introducing your new personalized AI Lightroom Classic editing assistant. It analyzes your unique editing style down to the very last detail and applies that style instantly and uniquely to every new photo from your Adobe Lightroom catalogs. Whether it's color correction, cropping, or straightening, Imagine's AI assistant knows what needs to be done based on your previous edits. The AI constantly learns your unique point of view and improves. With just a few clicks, Imagine edits your photos in your personal style faster than ever. It takes less than half a second per photo at all volumes. Now you can finally have the time to scale up your business and win back free time. In addition to creating your own personal AI profile, you can also use one of our pre-built talent AI profiles if you are uncertain about your unique style or just want to explore the signatory styles of leading photographers. Your new AI assistant is here to deliver. Achieve amazing results right from the first frame and maintain the highest level of precision in each and every photo. Starting at only a few cents per photo, you get fantastic value for your money and save hours of work. So say goodbye to hours of tedious manual editing and to presets that distort your photos and underdeliver. And say hello to the future.
I'm Karen Hutton. Join me as we go chasing fall color in the eastern Sierra Nevada mountains of California to make amazing images of this incredible time of year. I'm going to share with you everything I can come up with out of my years of experience photographing this incredibleness in this beautiful part of the world to hopefully save you some time and energy when you want to shoot the glorious colors of autumn wherever you are in the world. I'll share tricks like understanding how fall color starts at the highest elevation and works its way down and what that timing is all about. We'll talk about planning, we'll talk about preparing, we'll talk about gear, we'll talk about lenses, the actual nitty-gritty about how to shoot some of it, as well as how to tell a story, how to walk away with a book of your experiences, how to use color play. We'll talk about the detailed shots, the mid shots, the big epic shots. We're going to share a lot with you, and I'm not holding anything back. So join me for my latest class and best adventure ever at kelby1.com.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by Canon.
Hey, we are back. Scott Kelby here with empty chair. And, okay, listen, we're talking car rigs, things that I wish I hadn't bought. All right, so here's another car rig shot. There's one, car's zooming through. That's my brother's old BMW. Look how fast it's going. Woo, it's going fast. No, it's not. It is going 1 mile an hour. But it looks like it's going fast. So what it is, you have, picture this. Suction cup and a pole, literally like a metal pole, or you can get PVC pipe, and hanging at the end of the pole upside down is your camera. And you put it, in the front of the car or the side or whatever. You get behind it, engine off, and just push. So during that thing, it looks good, but you've got to go and retouch that. When you're done, you have to go into Photoshop and remove the pole. Sometimes it comes out amazingly easy. Sometimes it is a pain in the butt and you spend 45 minutes removing it. I would say most times it's fairly reasonably easy to get rid of. And because the background's moving and everything's moving, it's pretty easy to get rid of it on, in an innocuous background like that. So what happened? I went and bought a professional one. Instead of using the one that we had, I thought, man, it'll be nice because the professional one uses high-powered magnets. It sticks under the car. Instead of attaching to the hood or the side or whatever, it literally attaches under the car with a magnet, boom, and it pops on there. And then your camera is right side up. So it's much easier, obviously, when it's not upside down, to get your composition right and things like that. It is really, really nice. I still have it. I never sold it. It's in the warehouse, sitting in the box. We tried it one time, and it's a pain to set up, and it was just, I was not super digging it. So I never used it again. I used it one time, and it was like, I bought it 15 years ago, and it was like $800. That's it. Never used it again. So there's that. All right. Hey, I don't know if you guys do this, but I always recommend this. I've written blog posts about it. To go back to photos that you took a few years ago, because now we have new techniques, new things in Photoshop. We've learned new ways of doing things, and go back. I did that with a car shot. This one's probably taken, I don't know, 8 years ago. It's an Audi R8. And I went back and used some of the new stuff. Look at the light coming in with a plug-in. I got a little light beaming on it. And I was never happy with the color red that I had on the car. And I actually got a really good red on it now. And this is shot out at an airfield, and I used the hangar for the background and stuff. But anyway, I went and just back and kind of redid it, and that's I finally have a shot I like. I never showed it before because I never liked it, but I actually like it now. So it took a little bit of doing. That little beam of light made all the difference in the world for me, just adding that beam of light. Believe it or not, there was not a beam of light there, but there's this program called Photoshop, and there's some plugins you can get that do beams of light and stuff like that. So there you go. All righty. Hey, I want to give a shout out to Graham, who's watching us today from beautiful Malta. So thank you for joining us, Graham. Tony Mitchell says, great tip, Scott. Thank you, Tony. Woo. All right. So Linda says, the computer's in the back. I think Scott's sitting at a weather station. Yeah, so the thing was, this was supposed to be like, we started off to make this an underground hacker set. That was the idea, was to make it look like, you know how like in these TV shows and stuff, like the FBI or the CIA sets up this like, they're across the street from where the bad guys are, and they set up this like hacker thing. That's what the idea from this was. So, because the old set looked like Tron, so we built this. Michael has a really good question. Michael says, what are some of your photography goals for 2023? All right. So, Michael, my photography goals for 2023 are, number one, I want to do more travel for the sake of photography. So normally I take all of my travel photos on family vacation, and I'm trying to put together as many family vacations as possible. However, I have a high school daughter in high school, and that I want to take her out and say, let's go here and let's go there. And I would say to her teachers, hey, which is more important this week, that she gets to experience the culture and the food and the people and the architecture and everything of Paris, or that she learns another week of math she will never use in her entire life? They say, nope, she has to be in school. Anyway, long story short, I'm not able to travel with the family as much. When they were younger, it was much, much easier, but now it's harder. And she's got her friend group and all that. Like, I want to stay with my friends. So anyway, there's that. But I want to try and travel as much as I can for photography. My first trip is coming up in end of February with my brother Jeff. We're going to go to Qatar. I'm going to be going to Morocco later this year on some photography trips. I'm going to try to get to Fez and to the Blue City and maybe a night in the Sahara. So, and I have some other trips planned and some, I'm trying to put together as many things as I can. And this is what we were talking about just recently on the grid, is instead of investing in a bunch of new gear, invest in doing things that move your photography forward. The other thing I want to do, and this is going to sound weird when I say it, don't judge. I want to use more Photoshop and Lightroom on my images. I see what a lot of people are doing, and I go, why don't I do that? Like, I'm actually fairly conservative. Like, for me to add that beam of light to my car shot is like, I know how to do it, but I feel like I'm very conservative in what I will do in Photoshop. Now, I don't mean that I won't, add contrast and clarity and all that kind of stuff. I mean doing some more of these special effects things that I don't do. I rarely do that. And every time I do it, I'm like the image I showed you a minute ago. Now I really like it. What made it the difference? Really, getting the red color was right for me. But also adding that light beam. I added the light beam. I'm like, okay, now I like this. I see so many people on Instagram doing this stuff. And they're doing it not just for stuff like cars and stuff, but they're doing it for all these things. And I'm like, I know how to do all this stuff. Why won't I do it? So one of my photography goals is to do it. Is to take some of these images that I know could be phenomenal And right now they're sitting on my drive as But if I did a few things, they could go to or maybe woo, or maybe But I'm just not willing to do it. 2023 is the year that I'm going to be more willing to use Photoshop and plugins to expand what can be done. Now, I don't generally hide what can be done. Like I told you guys, I added that beam, I think that's part of my job, right? My job isn't to hide what I've done. My job is to share what I've done. So if someone says, hey, Scott, did you drop in that sky? Did you change the white balance? Did you I'll tell you exactly what I did. In fact, I'll probably beat you to it. Before you ask me what I did, I probably will have a tutorial on it. But I think that it's so widely done that I was the last person to do sky replacement, right? Everybody else was doing it. All my heroes were doing it. All the people I look up to. I find out they're all been doing it. I'm the last one to do sky replacement. I don't want to be the last one to add special effects. So that's my other thing for 2023 is that I'm not going to spend any more time. I know that my R6 II will do a lot of cool things that you can go in and mess with the menus. I'm not all that interested in that kind of stuff. I do want to get one new lens to replace I want to have my lenses all be RF lenses, not the old, DSLR lenses. So I'm going to switch out my 70 to 200 DSLR lens, and I'm going to get a mirrorless lens. That's it. All right. Le Chat Mask asks, okay, RF 51.8 or RF 35 1.8. What about the 15 to 30 f4.63? All right, so I have the 14 to 35 RF, and I think it's an f4 to f6.3. I absolutely love that lens. Now, Le Chat, you already have, is it Le Chat? The cat mask? I don't know. I have the RF 2024 that you have. You've got the RF 600 f11. Ooh, nice. You've got a 16. I'm loving, if you're going to get the 15 to 30, look at the 14 to 35. I love that lens. It's sharp, it's small, it's lightweight. And between the RF 50 and the RF 35, I'm not a 35 or a 50 guy. So I'm not the right person to ask. I don't use the 50 anymore, and I don't really use 35. I like the 35 if I'm shooting something wide and I want to get a detail shot, but I would never just stick a 35 on there. That being said, my buddy Mimo has the 35, and I did shoot it in France, and it was very, very sharp. Really, really sharp and crisp, like amazingly so. But I never feel like 35 is wide enough. I think 50 is too far, and 35 is not wide enough. I'm not the person to ask for those, but I like your other choices, and you've already got some very, very nice lenses, so there you go. Diana asks, are expensive monitors worth the additional cost? I would say, Diana, that depends. Now, I'm gonna tell you something. If you are a Mac user and you're using a Mac monitor, I don't know how much that's going to help you. If you are a PC user and you want a really great monitor, those bank monitors are the best monitors out there. They're the best. They're as good as the Apple monitors are. So yeah, if you're on a Mac and you're already using an iMac, I don't know if I can say, yeah, you got to upgrade. If you're on a PC and you want the best monitor out there, the banks, they're the best. We got to take one more break, but how much time do we have left? I got to look at oh, heck, we got like 4 minutes. I've got some more questions coming in. I'm going to try to get them with not as long an answer. When we come back, we also have our giveaways announcing who's winning the stuff. So stick around. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
I come home from a trip or an event, I share the images online, right? I share them in a particular way that every time I do it, I get emails, I get comments, and I get stuff on social media, people saying, what software are you using to share this story? It looks phenomenal. It's the storytelling medium that is so great. It makes your photos look fantastic and lets you wrap your story around it. It's called Adobe Express, and I made a class on it. It's an entire course. It's short because it's so easy. Adobe Express itself is free. If you're going to sign up for Adobe Express, go ahead and put some images together, come with me and follow along in the class. When the class is over, your Adobe Express page is up and running, and you're going to do it in no time at all and be blowing people away with the presentation. And you know what? It's all about the presentation. So come and check out my brand new course on photo storytelling with Adobe Express.
Hey guys, I'm Tuvi, and I'm going to show you two really cool products that we at VFlat World sell. So the first one is our Duo boards, which are double-sided, hyper-realistic backdrops for food and product photographers. They come in two sizes. This is the larger side. We have all different types of textures and designs. These are some of the new ones that came out recently, and they also, there's a bag option available for them. And our other product, which is what we actually started the company with, it's called a V-flat. It's a foldable V-flat, and it's used for portrait and studio photographers to control light on their subjects, to either add light with the white side or use the black side to subtract light, or even block like an unwanted window light coming in.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by Platypod, the world's most compact tripod base.
Hey, we're back. Scott Kelby here with, well, just alone. Yep. It's the invisible host. The invisible co-host is with me. So, a couple of questions. Hey, I want to show you, take a look at the image on screen. I want to show you the typical stuff that I would do, right? So this is the floating palace. It's in Jaipur, India. And my wife took me there to surprise me a few years ago, and it was a wonderful trip. Wonderful trip. So the typical stuff that I do, right, is I would work with the color balance. I think I probably did this in camera mostly, but what I did do, and this is the typical stuff that I do to a photo, is, and I just went back and revisited this one. This is why I'm talking about this. Literally last week, I'm like, nah, I don't really have a photo I like of it. I still don't like the sky. So the next time you see it, if you see this photo, I'll bet the sky looks better. But do you see how in the foreground there's a bird and there's some weeds? Well, I got rid of all the rest of the weeds. There were just random weeds sticking up. A lot of what I do in Photoshop, to be honest with you, is removing distracting stuff. Right? So just picture a little clump of weeds to the left and to the right, and maybe 10 clumps of, weeds. And I just painstakingly removed every little clump, just leaving that one. And it looks a lot better. It looks, I like simplifying the image as much as possible. So getting rid of that junk in the water was like my first thing. Like, I got to get rid of that junk. That's typical what I want to do. But what I want to do in 2023 is not do just stuff like that, because that's what I do. I'll fix the white balance, and I'll do the contrast, and I'll add some clarity, and I'll do some texture. But I guess I'm so used to doing that stuff that I stop and don't go as far as I should. Next year, we're going to go a little further. All right, Jack says, Scott, I know you use On-One Effects as a finishing move, and you sharpen in Topaz. What order do you do that in? I do it in exactly that order. I do On-One Effects, and then at the very end, the very last thing I do before I save the file is sharpen in Topaz Sharpen AI. Sharpening is the very, very last step. Everything else comes before that. Holly wants to know, what lens would you recommend for shooting college basketball? Holly, I got to tell you, if you're going to do this, you need two lenses. You need two lenses because it's traveling up and down the court. I did my first NBA game with a 70 to 200, and I was so frustrated. You would think with a 7200 you could cover the other end of the court really easily and get nice pictures. You can get okay pictures, but to get those pictures where you get the facial expressions and they're dunking and you're doing all this cool stuff, you need a 300. And you need a 300, probably f2.8. You will see a lot of the pros with the 300 sitting there, like you'll have it sitting beside you, because you need to be able to pick up the other lens and shoot. You need to have two bodies and two lenses. The other lens maybe a 24 to 70, because when they're right up under the basket, so where you're going to wind up, Holly, is on either end, right? You're going to wind up on either end of the court. Occasionally, they will let photographers be on the side, in which case you might be able to get away with the 70 to 200 because you're half as close. But picture you're in one end, you're shooting the other end of the court, and then you're shooting what happens literally right in front of you. You're going to want a 24 or a 24 to 70 or something like that. So that would be a good combination. But again, you got to get a 2.8, because as bright as you think the lights are, I guarantee you, Holly, you'll still be shooting. To get to 1,000ths of a second, you need to get to 1/1,000th of a second or faster to freeze the athletes. You're going to have to be at, ready, 4,000 ISO. You might get away with slightly less than that, but I doubt it. I'll bet you're going to be at 4,000 ISO at f2.8. I know, it's rough. Shooting indoors in arenas or at night it's tough. It's expensive. Holly, what you can do if it's a really important game is go rent those lenses from lensprotogo.com. Just go rent them from them, and you'll love it. You'll love doing that stuff. You can also see what shooting a game is like with those and what ISO you wind up at. Now, 4,000 ISO on a lot of these mirrorless cameras is like no problem. Or some of the really high-end Canon or Nikons, no problem. Or Sony's. You're going to need fast lenses. Sorry. All right, Shaw says, how can someone enhance their photography if you don't have a huge traveling budget? All right, two things. First, Shaw, in the comments, can you tell me what you shoot? Do you shoot flowers? Do you shoot wildlife? Tell me what you shoot, because not everybody's a travel photographer, right? Now, if you are a travel photographer, you can absolutely do this on the cheap. I'm telling you, you do not have to spend a bunch of money. And by the way, I try to spend as little money as travel. I'm back in deep coach, in a seat you wouldn't want to be in. Now, sometimes I get upgrades. I'm a diamond medallion on, but you don't get them on international. You have to use a upgrade certificate, and it's every once in a while I do get up front, but I don't buy it. I use upgrades or whatever. What I would say is go to delta.com and sign up for their newsletter. They're going to ask you, what town do you live in? Shaw, you are going to get deals to Europe and to South America and crazy places you'd love to go that are going to blow your mind. Now, it will tell you have to fly during these 4 weeks. But I just recently saw deals to Europe from Tampa. So I live in Tampa, which you got to go from Tampa to Atlanta or Tampa to New York and then someplace. Under $500 to Europe. This is just like a couple of months ago. Now, not this week during the holidays. First week of January, all the prices come shooting back down. So look at the second or third week of January for prices. You can fly from the United States to Europe for less than $500. When you get there, you can stay in rooms that are $60 a night, $80 a night. There's all kinds of deals you can get. Go with a friend and share the room and share the expenses. There are inexpensive ways to travel. There are all kinds of ways. If you go and search, by the way, on Pinterest, go to Pinterest and say, Venice on $50 a day. You'll find all kinds of articles on how to do Venice on $50, on $75, on $100 a day. Remember, you don't have to go someplace for 9 days. You can shoot your daylights out of a place in like 2.5 days. If you can get 2.5 days someplace and just say, I'm getting up at dawn, I'm going to be shooting a lot, I'm not going to be sleeping in my hotel room or sitting by the pool, man, you can get a lot done. All right, there were some more questions real quick. I'll see if I can answer them real fast. Can you scroll up? Are they? I think we answered those. Okay, let's give some prizes away because we're kind of out of time. Denise would love the V-flat under my tree. You just got it. Happy holidays, Denise. Alicia, you just won the On One Effects 2023. Greg Pfeiffer, you just won the Duo board. And Craig Byers, you won the Light It, Shoot It, Retouch It ebook. Leon Smith, you got the Platypod Ultra. Scott Golub, you got the travel book. And there you go. What you all have to do is email us at this website. It's one word, gridprize@kelby1.com. Gridprize@kelby1.com. We'll verify that you're actually the person that won. Then we'll get a shipping address from you, and we'll ship them out to you, or we'll give you a download link if that's the case. So, thank you guys for entering, and congratulations to all of you winner. All right. I don't know if we'll be here next week or not. I'd say it's a toss-up. I'd kind of like to take next week off, to be honest with you, but we'll see where we go. You know what I'd like to see? Here's what I'd like to see. Let me just sit back and pontificate. Here's what I'd like to see. No, to go one up. This is big stuff. I'd like to see Mr. Kuna come in next week. Do the show by himself. Oh, yeah. How about no? That's right. I want to see that seat filled with some Kuna next week where... I'm just kidding. Hey, I'm Eric's biggest fan. I'm totally joking when I do all these things. Eric earns every day off. That guy, he works his butt off. He deserves every day he gets off. And he's been here for so many years, he's accumulated a bazillion of them. So don't want you to think I'm really giving him heat. He's the greatest. Okay. So I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah to those of you who are already enjoying Hanukkah. And thank you to all of our sponsors. Thank you to my team that came in the week before Christmas. I hope that Santa brings you the coolest gifts. One thing. If you don't have a gift yet, you could get somebody a Kelby One Pro membership. By the way, you can buy one for yourself. You can gift yourself one. You can get them instantaneously. Go to kelby1.com and you can get them a gift. Imagine giving somebody a year of learning, right? A year of learning. You can do it monthly. You can do it annually. But, man, what a great gift that would be. Give somebody a Kelby One. You know, we come out with a new class, a full-length online course every single week. So we do a bunch of classes, and we got a great community. Plus, you get a subscription to Photoshop User Magazine, which is like 125 pages of an issue. It comes out the first business day of every month, so you get it 12 times a year. It's an awesome magazine, and hats off to Chris Main, the managing editor, who works so hard to make it great, and also to Jessica and my whole team, and Margie and everybody. We have a great team of designers, and we just have a great crew. So thanks to everybody. Thanks to you guys, and welcome everybody that does join Kelby One. Welcome. We're happy to have you with us going into 2023. It's going to be a great year of education. Stay safe, everybody. Take care. Bye, Mr. Kuna, in your RV up in Kuna land doing Kuna stuff.